my current industry, in the last 2 weeks, I've had 2 customer complaints. Honestly, kind of unheard of, not to like toot my own horn, but kind of unheard of in my location. And I'm like, these customers got everything they wanted during their visit and they left happy. Why are we getting this complaint? So now I'm like, I can't trust even the happy people who are leaving, saying like their needs have been met and they are ecstatic with their experience. I'm like, you're lying. If you're going to file a complaint, just tell me now. Mm-hmm. And it's a little, I'm not even going to lie. I've got a little trauma behind my career in retail.
There can be, and some of that can be mental health, right? We're not necessarily aware of how we feel and how to express how we feel in the moment. Sometimes it takes people a little bit longer, but then again, you do have people that just like to take advantage, and there will always, unfortunately, be those people too.
I'm like so humbled by, I guess, your acceptance of the entire situation. I went home very bitter yesterday by this. I'm like, you were so, like, why are you angry? I don't understand. What more could we have done for you? And I guess I appreciate that hindsight, if you will. Like, maybe we were kind of, maybe the situation wasn't as nice for her as I thought I was making it. I don't know.
Okay, so I went out to get me something to drink, and I come back, and I don't know what y'all have going on here. What are y'all talking about? First off, welcome to Hammered, everybody. This is another episode. Mike and Laura. And it's not a surprise who our guest is. We got Amanda Lunn in studio. What's up, Amanda?
Hello. Thanks for having me.
I'm just trying to catch up here. What's going on? So you worked at Walmart.
You left to go get a drink, and I'm like, I can't sit here in silence until you come back. So I just struck up conversation.
Well, according to Depeche Mode, you can enjoy the silence. So.
And see, I don't mind the conversation because as a massage therapist, probably 90% of my clients are sleeping. And so I'm in my head all day long. So when I get people, I'm like, ooh, I can actually have a conversation with you.
Wait, how long are you massaging people that they fall asleep?
A good portion. For those that do fall asleep, a good portion can fall asleep within the first 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
But yeah, I do sessions 30 minutes up to 2 hours. I do have a 4-hour session coming up in a couple weeks.
A 4-hour session, a half a workday session on one person.
I can't imagine falling asleep while someone is touching me, personally.
Yeah, it would be very tough.
I absolutely love about my profession. Because in this world, I really can't think of one other instance where so much trust is given. I have literal strangers come into my office, lay on my table, undressed, under a sheet, allow me to touch them in places that people probably don't see very often, professionally, of course, and then they are able to fall asleep. And how you don't see that level of trust very often in this world. So I feel humbled and just blessed to be able to witness that and to see the good in humanity, because not everybody gets to witness that.
Well, imagine being the person on your table. Like, imagine having that kind of trust to just be like, I'm going to sleep on this table now, and I'm just going to let this stranger...
Now, what percentage of these clients are male to female? That plays a big part.
So I've worked in many different places, and it varies on kind of the location, the setting that you're at. I have my own practice now, and I probably see 60% female, 40% male.
Yeah. Okay, I could see women falling asleep during a massage. Other than
I was kind of marinating on that when you asked the question, and I think I also probably felt like women would fall asleep before men would during a massage session.
Well, I mean,
So,
let's just be honest. Men are always like going into a massage, and they get sexually turned on. So sleeping is probably the last thing on their mind. And I know you're not like kind of massage therapist. I know this, but I'm just saying from a man's perspective, I don't go into a massage, thinking I'm gonna fall asleep.
Well, I don't think anyone goes into a massage thinking they're going to fall asleep, but the masseur puts them in this, tranquil state.
Well, it also depends on what kind of massage you're getting, because most of the massages I go professionally, I'm hurting the whole time because it's like a deep sports massage. And like it's in pain. You're in pain. You can't go to sleep during that.
So it really depends. Like, do men get sexually aroused? Potentially. There are people that do. Is it the norm, or is that the only thing they're thinking about? Now, obviously, I'm not in their head. I can't say for sure what they're thinking about. But 99% of guys, like, it doesn't come across that way from my perspective. Of the guys, I think I had 5 clients today, 3 of which were male. The males were the ones that fell asleep today.
Ooh.
Aww, they were tired.
And some of them, like, the body is just really cool. We don't fully understand it. So massaging the back, I hit a knot. We can be having a full-fledged conversation, and then all of a sudden I hit that knot, people are out and snoring.
Mm.
And
she's got a thing. You should like feel her thing. She's
and
got a
what's
thing in her shoulder.
So funny is like, since we've sat down, I'm like, God, my shoulder's being a dick right now. Like, I want to pop my neck. I need to work it out. Like, it's being an absolute asshole right now.
Well, so is mine. And look, you're seeing 2 people right now with some jacked up shoulders. So I've got like this pinched nerve, and I've been seeing a chiropractor since the 1st of January. Sometimes 3 to 4 days a week. And I get on this bed. It's got these big rollers in it, and he adjusts me, and oh my God, it's crazy. But it still hurts. Like right now, I can feel it going down my arm, and I don't know. I'm hoping he fixes me, but maybe I just need some massage therapy too.
Well, we had kind of discussed this since you started seeing this chiropractor, where, my first question was, how soon are you going to achieve some kind of like alleviation from that pain? Because that was your primary complaint, was that sharp pain down your arm. That hasn't been alleviated, but the chiropractor has helped you with other things like your stiff neck and, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this pinched nerve, like, is this something that the chiropractor can help you with at the end of the day?
I don't know. That's what we're working on. I bought a massage gun.
did you?
I did.
They're fantastic.
I wish I could use it on myself. I can't like reach in the back with it. It sucks. But it's pretty good.
I gotta back up to a corner of a wall and like work my shoulder into that. That's a good time.
So
poor Amanda was like, I didn't come over here to listen to y'all bitch about your whack ass shoulders.
But this is the norm, right? Like,
right.
So back in 2009, I went to Thailand to study Thai massage for 3 weeks because I needed continuing education. We're required to have 24 hours every 2 years. And it was cheaper for me to go to Thailand for 3 weeks to have a 90-hour course than it was to go to the closest Thai massage weekend course here in the States.
Wow.
And so I said, heck yeah, I'm going to go to Thailand and learn it from the real people. And what I realized there is that, so here, most people have like neck, shoulder, back issues, right? Like, and if they're wanting deep tissue, those are the areas that they want the deep tissue. Some people want it everywhere, but for the most part, most people want it neck, shoulders, back. There, they can't handle the pressure. Most of them can't handle the pressure on their backs and neck. But their legs, they want all the pressure on their legs. If I gave that pressure to people here, most people would start crying. And so as I'm looking at it, the difference is we sit in nice, comfy, cushy chairs.
Uh-huh.
They often will sit on the floor, cross-legged.
Okay.
And so they're using their body differently than we are. And when I say they sit on the floor, like she was probably 80 and she just kneeled on the floor. And so some of what we experience is because of how we interact on a daily basis.
My hypothesis when you had kind of started this story was like they are standing more, they're moving more, and then we as Americans are sitting all day long with like horrible postures, which is probably putting a lot of pressure, neck, shoulders back, which makes perfect sense to me.
Well, it always amazes me when I see, like on TV, when you see an Asian family sit down on cross-legged around a dinner table on the floor, and I can't even get down like that without pain in my ankles and knees. And I'm like, how do they do that every day for every meal? You know, even when they go out to dinner, they do it. It hurts.
I thought I was really weird in my old apartment. Whenever I would make myself a meal, I would take it to the living room, but my sofa in that apartment sat up really high, so it was very awkward to like place my plate down on the coffee table in front of me and like eat like that. So for the longest, I was just like sitting cross-legged on the floor eating from my coffee table. And I'm like, if someone just walked into my home right now and saw this, they'd think I was like crazy. Why aren't you sitting on your sofa? But it makes me feel better that like that's a cultural thing. Like that's a cool thing.
Yeah, these legs definitely weren't meant to sit on a floor crossed with ankles down.
Now they also learn so we learn massage here, right? If you go to school for it. Some people will just do it for their friends and family or whatnot. But there, they start teaching their young from a very early age how to do Thai massage. And so Thai massage is different than regular massage. People are clothed. Usually you're laying on a floor on the mat. And if you watch it, and if you watch somebody who's really, really good at it, it looks like a beautiful dance. It's like two-person yoga. And so I think sometimes their self-care is a little bit more in tune than what we give ourselves here.
And that makes perfect sense anyway. Interesting.
Well, what got you into not Thai massage, what got you into massage in general?
So, high school, I had no idea what I wanted to be when I grew up. I was really good at school. I graduated valedictorian, and I knew I wanted to help people. Really loved school, so I decided to be a doctor because I knew I would be in school for forever. So went to college. In the midst of pre-med, getting my bachelor's, I began questioning my path. 100% of the doctors that I talked to told me not to go into medicine. They said that they were not happy, that insurance, billing, and everything, that it was now more paperwork than it was actually spending time with patients, and they didn't feel that they were getting out of it what they wanted to. They felt that they were letting their patients down. And so I started asking, well, gosh, if 100% of them are telling me not to go into this profession, what the heck am I doing? And simultaneously, I was questioning some of my science classes on, do I really care what happens on a cellular level, or am I more holistic in nature? And I was kind of leaning towards more holistic. And my bachelor's was in health sciences, and I had a minor in complementary medicine. And in one of my classes, a massage therapist came in to give a demonstration. I got butterflies, I got goosebumps, and I was like, that is what I am meant to do. So that is how I got in. I finished my bachelor's, and then I went off to massage school, where you could do a 6-month full-time course, or you could drag it out to 2 years if you wanted, but I worked full-time while getting full-time for my massage degree, and so it was morning through afternoon of school, and then off to work, and then just kind of relearning everything. And eventually clinic got added on, and so then it was working on actual bodies and just learning my craft, and I absolutely love it.
I started a little bit of, I guess, envy started bubbling up because that aha moment for your life path came to you so like easily and so poignantly. And so like, here I am, and you're just like, yeah, that's it. And like, that doesn't happen to anyone. Like, I'm still waiting for my life path aha moment.
I'm
So,
still waiting on mine.
I know.
I have no clue what I'm going to do
Right.
when I grow up.
And I'm just going to say that's, I'm very happy for you, but that's also very rude that the rest of us have not acquired that.
Well, so evidently that wasn't enough for you, because now you're into politics. Now you're running for North Carolina representative for the House.
I am.
What in the world is wrong with you, Amanda?
Right?
Why would you do that with the political climate today? But no, tell us, what got you into that?
Let me rephrase that. What is right with you?
Why, thank
That
you.
made you look
Why
at
would anyone
the
want to punish
climate
themselves?
and say, I can make a difference.
So I will say
Cheers, bravo.
that from 100% of everything that I've heard, people have mimicked what Michael just said. Why am I doing this? And if you would have asked me 5 to 10 years ago, I would have said the same exact thing, because it kept creeping into my head. You should do this. Why? First of all, why did it creep into my head? I saw things that I didn't like, politicians that made moves that I didn't necessarily agree with. I'm the type of personality that I feel like I can't complain if I'm not willing to step into the game and be part of the solution. I love to debate. I love to debate with people who have completely different views from mine. I really enjoy talking with people who do think differently, because that allows me the opportunity to grow and just reassess my thoughts and opinions. But I also realized that a lot of the conversations became vent sessions, right? And vent sessions are great. Sometimes we just need to let it out. But I'm very much a solution-oriented person. And so I kind of got frustrated with the circular conversations, because I'm like, okay, we feel like this. Yes. What are we going to do about it?
Yes.
How do we go about this? Where are our ideas for this? And the conversation would just stop, or it would go back into another vent circle. And so part of me just got frustrated with that. But anyhow, when those voices started coming into my head of, you should run for office, I thought, why the heck would I do that? That doesn't sound like fun. I can't do that. That is not my wheelhouse. There are so many more people better qualified than I am. We will let them do that. And as those questions would keep coming back to me, you should run, I would really reassess myself, and could I run? And back then, I was very much a people pleaser. I hated conflict. And so I knew that I wasn't strong enough to stand in those circles, because I would just agree with everything just to avoid conflict, and that is not what people need. They need a real advocate for them. So since that time, I've probably had 5 to 10 different people mention to me just various times, you should run for office. And again, every time that happened, I was like, no, I am not qualified for that. That is not my wheelhouse. I don't even like politics. And so about a year ago, the thoughts came again, and as I was reassessing, I realized that I have done some tremendous personal growth over these past few years. And I'm not who I used to be. And gosh, I helped stop bar fights last year. A couple domestic violence type situations. Wait a
minute. How'd you stop a bar fight?
She threw a stool, duh.
We gotta hear this.
No, it's just telling people when, hey, you've had enough to drink. This is inappropriate behavior. This is not who you are. And I love you enough that
Oh, so you
this
went
is
mama
not
bear on them.
I did.
Yeah,
I did. And it's nice to be able to be in that space, to be assertive and come from a place of love of, no, this is not who you are. Your mama didn't raise you like this. I know you better than this, and you are better than this. And sometimes I think that's what people need. They just need the confidence, and they need people to say when things are no longer appropriate.
No one tells people that anymore.
And what I witnessed is, right, it's a bar. There are plenty of men. There were men who knew this individual who were waiting. And I'm like, well, what are you waiting for? You have the ability to stop this now before it gets worse. And so I do find, I do probably enjoy being a follower more than a leader. However, when things are not going how I would choose to do it, that is when I step up to lead. Like, I'm totally much more comfortable if somebody kind of echoes my thoughts, wants to take care of it, they can do all the work. That's fine. I'll help them. Mm-hmm. But when somebody is not doing how I would do it or close enough to how I would do it, and it's like, nope, it's time for me to stand up and say, hey, this could be different and it should be different. And let's find a solution to make it so.
I think that's the strongest type of leader, though. The one who knows when it's appropriate to take a step back, and then the one who knows when enough is enough. And you kind of have to, like, you know, how far has a situation escalated where you're no longer preventative, but you also kind of have to, like, backpedal to a certain point. And that's going to, like, ruffle a lot of feathers in the process. So I think that's very admirable.
And so thinking about running, like, so I'm an empath. I feel people's emotions. That's part of what makes me a great massage therapist, right? I listen with my ears, I listen with my eyes, I listen with my hands, my heart, and my head. What I've been feeling over the past many years, especially this past year, is that people no longer trust the process. People no longer trust government. And I don't think you should fully trust government ever. I think there always has to be a healthy amount of distrust because that's how you keep everything accountable. However, right now it's to the point where if we don't find a way to fix our democracy, it's going to fail. And I don't care if you're Republican, if you're independent, Democrat, Green Party, whatever your party is, none of our issues matter if our democracy does not exist. And if we cannot find a way to make it work, where the people trust it enough to let it work, and where politicians are honest enough and have a good enough character and integrity to make it work, our world will not be as we would like it to be.
Well, see, there's the problem. You said politicians and honesty in the same sentence. That's kind of an oxymoron right there. If you ask 90% of Americans
Correct.
these days.
And that is why I think I feel, so the butterflies that I got when I knew that I wanted to be a massage therapist, like I had a vision last year that, like, put me into this space. And because I'm in such a unique position where people trust me in the realm of massage therapy, and even just in general, I'm the type of person that people will tell me all of their problems and state that they feel comfortable around me, comfortable enough to be themselves. I feel that it's imperative for me to run because if the goal is to get people to trust their politicians and their representatives, who better can do that job than somebody who innately gives out trust and people respond to that trust? And so it's one of those things where if I can't do it, can it really be done? And so it's a challenge to me, but I think it's possible.
What has caused this colossal disconnect between our state representatives and the people? Like, how come there's so much uncertainty and distrust between politicians and the people? What happened? Is it just a corrupt government, or is it how that information is presented to the people?
So I think I'll step back just a little bit. We are really blessed in this country. We have such a better life than so many other people in this world. We have not had war in this country on our soil in quite some time. How does that translate? That makes us very complacent. That makes us very happy. That makes us have the opportunity to kind of be in our safe bubble, to enjoy our life. Like you said, who likes politics? Who wants to get into politics? So we allow other people to do that because we're here enjoying our life. That's not our wheelhouse. We go to work, we have our families, we go to baseball games. We do us, and we let somebody else take that burden. What that's created is an opportunity for people who thrive in that world. People who have self-serving interests have easier access. They see we're complacent. We are not part of the process. Looking at some of the voting numbers for, I think, the 2018 primary for my current district, we had less than a 10% voter turnout for the primary.
Oh,
less
my God.
than 10% of eligible voters came out to vote. And as I'm running, that is one of the main things that I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get people to vote for me, right? I'm trying to convince them that I am the best candidate.
Naturally.
But the biggest thing is just getting people to come out and vote. And to me, that is one of the most patriotic things that you can do because you are being part of the process. You are allowing your voice to be heard. Will I agree with everybody's choices? Probably not. But that is democracy, when you have a voice at the table and you use your voice as you can.
I think the problem is, and this is just my opinion, but there's a lot of good people that run for office like you that go into it with this big outlook of how you would change things and make things for the better. Mm-hmm. But I think once those good people get in office, their mindset is being forced to change. If they're headstrong and they're really good people and patriotic, they'll feet down, strong foundation, and they'll do what they got to do. But a lot of times, people keep their positions and change their ideology because of money. Funds, campaign. Can I get reelected? Who's going to sponsor my campaign run? Mm-hmm. That's what's happening, and that's why a lot of Americans don't trust the voting process or politicians these days, because they know that these ideologies of these candidates, Republican, Democratic, Independent, they all get skewed because of money. So, at the end of the day, it's money. Who's pushing the campaign? I don't want to piss off my constituents because I want to get reelected. What do I do?
So before I made the decision to run, when I was doing all my mental calculations of could I really do this, the biggest thing that I thought about and had to kind of do some major deep dives about is can I do this and stay true to who I innately am? because I do think that the majority of politicians go into it with the best of intentions, the purest of hearts. They get in and find it's a game and get lost somewhere in the shuffle. To that end, we do not make that process easy. Even campaigning, trying to reach voters, trying to just say who I am and allow them to know who I am. How do we allow people to reach us? People can send an email. Do y'all read the emails that you get from politicians?
I don't read any emails ever.
Instant delete.
Social media. I think sometimes with the outrage politics, you might catch a post here or there, but do you seek out politicians' pages?
Not really.
No. How about the text messages that you get, kind of the
Blocked.
robocall types thing?
I usually respond, but it's not a very positive response.
However, mine I'm getting from Northern Virginia. I haven't voted in the state of Virginia since I was 18. So I'm like, how did you get my phone number? So, blocked.
So door-to-door canvassing is what they tell us is the most effective way to campaign. Do you answer your doors when people knock?
No, Netflix has taught me that's how you get murdered.
And you have a nice no soliciting sign.
like
You already
that?
know who you're voting for.
Yeah.
So as a potential politician, right now, like, how discouraging is that? Like, I don't care who you vote for. I just want you to know who's in the game so that you can make an informed decision on who resonates best for you and your views and how you want to live. And so we don't really allow an easy way for voters to get that information. And as I'm asking you this, like, it's the same for me. Do I ever answer my door? No, I'm an introvert. I will allow you to knock.
And
Unless you had told me that you were coming, and then I'll wait the nice few minutes for you to leave, and I'll go peek out the door to see if you left anything. How about the mail? Do you actually read your political mail that you get?
Do they are people still sending that? Because I mean, what a colossal waste.
And that is where I am at as a candidate, right? So this particular race that I am in for District 37, North Carolina House of Representatives, the majority of people have told me, hold on, how much money do you think that they have suggested I should raise for my campaign in order to potentially have a successful campaign?
I'm going to say at least 500,000.
Double that.
$1 million.
$1 million.
Wow.
Now, that's not necessarily the case for all districts, right? Some districts, the way they gerrymander the maps, most districts are either very favorable towards Republicans, very favorable towards Democrats. They might not need quite as much. My district is a very competitive district, so $1 million.
What party are you under?
I am under a Democratic.
Democratic.
So a lot of that is name recognition. Like, there definitely are fees, right? Like, I'm going to have to pay the Democratic House Party a certain amount of money for the software that I have. That's a monthly bill. There are my accounting firm I have to pay. So there are routine just fees. But the majority of that money is spent for just name recognition.
Marketing.
Putting my name out there so that people know who I am, hopefully, and may recognize my name on a ballot. To mail one piece of mail, one little flyer, how much do you think that cost?
I mean, are you doing it yourself, or are you doing it through, like, your team, or do you have to do it through the Democratic Party?
So as you're campaigning, especially if you have multiple, like for me, having multiple Democrats that will cause primary, right? So that there's not just one Democrat yet. You pretty much are on your own. Like you can create your own campaign team and they can help you. And you're fundraising to utilize those funds for whatever your marketing needs are.
Well, it can't cost more than regular postage, right, to send a letter?
Correct. But how many people are you sending it to?
Oh, you got to send it to a lot. Yeah.
So 25,000.
So the district you're running in, it's District 37. What does that encompass?
So it is southeast Wake County. So, yeah, southeast. So a little bit of Holly Springs, all of Fuquay-Varina, little parts of kind of Wake County's unincorporated. So they might have a Raleigh address, they might have an Apex address, but that general Willow Springs in there, that general area.
How many districts and how many representatives are there? Did I just test you?
You did, and I am going to fail.
Snap.
So there are 100 counties. I have no idea how many districts there are.
It's a big house then, I'm assuming.
It is.
Lots of people, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do my research on that. I apologize. I should have known ahead of time. But yeah.
That's one of those things that I've read a few times and it's gone pshoo right over my head.
But also, like, is that really, like, pertinent information? Like, you're not going to be talking about people who are running in District 17, right?
Correct.
So,
well, it's pertinent for me.
Irrelevant.
I wanted to know it.
And so that is probably one of my things. I compartmentalize really well to know, what do I have to know? And what can I look up when I really need to?
and I think that's smart considering no one cares about District 17 in this room. So,
and it's kind of like back in the day when you would tell your teacher, well, I could just use a calculator. And they said, well, you won't always have a calculator with you. And now we have our phones, so we always have a calculator with us. Work smarter, not harder.
But it's not one of those, what is it, T98 calculators. You could, like, make the graphs a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Those were fancy. And you could,
They
like,
were.
text your friends on those, too. That was a long time ago.
There is District 17, because I care about District 17.
That's really funny because when I was picturing District 17, when I made it up, I was thinking it was like Eastern North Carolina. I honestly didn't think it was right there.
And that is
Fully
actually a
encompassing
Senate
Raleigh.
district. So if you're looking up comparable, you're going to want to look up the North Carolina House District.
The North Carolina House District. Oh, see, now you're getting all technical.
Good catch.
Hold on, I gotta come back over here.
Here she
now.
comes. Coming through for me.
So yes, that will be, it looked like Senator Batch, who is actually current senator. She is over the area that I'm in as well. But she'll be up for re-election this year as well.
Cool. I guess, as someone who has truly, and I mean this with every molecule of my being, never uttered the phrase, you should run for office to herself, I think that's kind of the part where I'm like, I really just can't connect. So I understand and appreciate the part where you're like, I see an opportunity to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my question is like, why this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I think about I want to make a positive change, I don't, I take my own bags to the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't use plastic bags.
And that's helpful.
Exactly.
Every little bit helps.
Save the turtles.
Yes. And I'm like, use a paper straw or a metal straw. I'm never in my life have I been like, I need to be the change that I require for my city, my state, my planet.
Mm-hmm.
Let me run for office.
So
Tell me about the voices in your head.
But first,
There are so
is this District 37?
Yes, that is correct.
That is a lot of yellow right there. So we got Fuquay, Holly Springs,
Actually,
a little bit of Apex.
that is the old District 37. That is not the new map.
Oh, so it's bigger?
So it is, so that little mermaid tail up by Apex is no longer part of us.
Aw.
Not the mermaid tail.
Kind of where it says Feltonville. I don't even know that I don't know what that is actually. But right about there, it kind of cuts straight down
Oh, okay.
towards the bottom of Wake County.
Cut off the mermaid tail. How
And
about
we have
that?
a little bit more in that pink area now.
Okay.
Do you want to know something really funny? I watched The Little Mermaid last night.
I love
How many?
that. I want to be where the people are.
I want to see.
Oh, no.
Wanna see them dancing.
They're going to sit here
walking
and start
around on
singing
those-
Disney songs.
What do you call them? Oh, feet.
How about Encanto? Let's just hear it.
We don't talk about Bruno. You want to?
No.
Okay, today at work. Okay, sorry. Quick side note. Then we'll get back to the voices in Amanda's head. It was so slow. I look at my phone. We don't talk about Bruno is number 1 on the Billboard charts currently. I say this out loud. My coworker Mike is like, "What is that?"
I just watched Encanto 2 weekends ago.
Do you regret
Just
it?
over a week ago. No.
What do you mean?
I
Do you
never
regret
a
it?
Disney
Because you
movie.
can't get that song out of your head.
I mean, it is no worse than Let It Go, and Let It Go was in there for a very
no,
long
it's pretty
time.
bad. Laura, text me right now.
But speaking of the voices in my head and Disney, I think it's at least Disney, right? Inside Out.
That is,
So-
I think that was Pixar.
Pixar.
Yeah.
So the voices in your head that is actually what that movie is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And so my oldest daughter, I don't remember how old she was. She was like maybe 3 or 4 at the time. As we were watching it, she goes, "Mommy, do the people in my head have people in their head?" And like it went to a whole new deeper level.
Easy, kiddo. It's time for bed.
But the little guy, the memory guys who like throw the little memory ball to put songs stuck in your head, I think of them every single time that any of those Disney music, the music or just regular music pops into my head.
And speaking of mental health, Inside Out was honestly kind of like an emotional and physiological breakthrough for me. And I think it has been for a lot of people who really kind of struggle with embracing their emotions and what that sounds and looks and feels like, and that it's okay to be that person when, you know, the feelings are big. And I just think it's a beautiful illustration because children, I think, are like punished for feeling and acting on those feelings. And I think Inside Out was a beautiful illustration of safety in your emotions. And when
An 11-year-old girl's 5 emotions try to guide her through a difficult transition after she moves from the Midwest to San Francisco.
Did you not watch it?
I've
Of course
never
he
heard
hasn't.
of this.
For shame.
First off, she moved to San Francisco.
Bing
Okay.
He will cry at the part with Bing Bong.
I'm not watching it if I'm going to cry. No
Oh my
way.
God, you will cry.
Oh my God, I was almost bawling the other day watching Undercover Boss. I was in
I've
there just
also
like,
cried through that
yeah,
too.
dude, yeah, we watched a marathon the other day. It was crazy. I'm like sitting there, she's sitting to my right, my daughter's laying on the couch to the left, and we watched like 4 episodes in a row, and then all the sob stories. You're just like,
There's onions in the room.
Don't look at me.
Allergies. Right here.
One of, what was the cartoon Home? Was that what it was called?
Yes. Rihanna voices
I think so.
that character.
My youngest daughter, we were like all cuddled up watching that, and gosh, she was maybe 3 or 4. She goes, "Mommy, there's wetness in my eyes." I'm like, "Oh, you feel it, like you get it, like that's all." Because I'm, crying like there's no tomorrow, and I'm like, "You get it, like she was behind me kind of, and so she didn't see that I was crying, yet she still felt those emotions and had the ability to communicate those emotions. So it was really cool.
I love. How old are your kids? How many kids do you have?
I have 2 girls, 10 and 11.
Okay. Nice.
Yes.
So they really just kind of entertain each other. They're close enough in age.
Yes.
That's great.
And they 90% of the time get along well with one another and are each other's best friends, and we're starting to approach that puberty thing where they want their own space, and crying happens at the drop of a hat when you don't even know that the hat dropped. And so we're starting to enter that phase of fun life.
I love that. What are their birthdays?
So Ashley is May 3rd.
Okay.
And Amber is September 26th.
Okay.
So a little Taurus and
And
a
a
Libra.
Libra.
Mm-hmm. And my Libra is like Libra through and through. She can negotiate like nobody's business, and she
Little
stands
politician.
her ground. Like seriously, she said since she was 2, she wants to be a dog trainer.
Oh, nice.
And so, like, she knows, and she's stuck her ground, because some people call it stubborn. She just really knows what she wants, and she's willing to stand up and take the consequences.
Stubborn, headstrong,
Mm-hmm.
committed.
But yeah, like,
Mm-hmm.
things, I'm very food motivated, right? If you want me to do something, you throw in dessert,
I'm in.
odds are I will do it, right? So with her, okay, you need to eat 3 bites. No, mommy, I'm full. Well, come on, eat 3 bites, and then you can have dessert. I'm full. I don't want anything else. Eat 3 bites or you're gonna have to go to bed. Okay, good night, mommy. And I'm
Wow.
like,
Shit.
like there's
his
nothing to
ground.
negotiate
Damn
with
it.
her.
These kids have evolved.
Wow.
So yeah, it's fun because my oldest is very much my mini me. I understand how her brain works. Like we're on the
So
same
they're
process.
Are you okay? Did you just waterboard yourself? My God.
See, this is me rubbing off on her as a massage therapist, because I'm like, drink your water.
Whoa.
Drink water and make you feel better.
She didn't drink it. She poured it on herself. God. Those gulps.
My thing is, like, we're talking so long and so in depth that I'm like, okay, this is great opportunity for me to drink my water while still listening.
Yeah, drink it,
And
not
then
kill yourself with it.
I do know CPR if we have to do that.
It's just really thirsty. I have pasta and the wine, like those things equal. I need water. So
All right.
Massage therapist approved.
thank you. Thank you. See, the massage therapist and not mine. I'm sorry. Please continue.
And so my youngest, she is more like her daddy, and her brain is so totally different than mine, which can be very frustrating at times because I'm very compartmentalized, very even-keeled. Like, my emotions stay right in the middle. There are very few times where I get very angry. There's very few times where I'm like super uber happy. And so with her, she feels all the feels, and she feels them intensely. And so in my brain, I'm like, okay, let's suck it up. Like, let's move on. You're fine. You didn't die. You're okay. You're safe. But in her mind, like, she gets overwhelmed and she has a lot of anxiety. And so as a parent, and I mean, I deal with people with anxiety all the time, but I'm getting to witness it on a different level firsthand. And so I think some of the issues in our society is, we'll use traffic, right? When we are speeding, in our mind, we're just going to the next place. We have whatever excuse that we need to justify our behavior. However, if somebody else is going at a speed that we do not prefer, we like character assault them. They're idiots. Something is wrong with them. It's not situational like with us. We attack their character. They are less than. because they are not doing what we would do. And so when it comes to even politics and a lot of the policies, we do the same thing. Oh, that was a tax write-off. That's a loophole that I use to not pay my taxes or to pay less taxes or something of that sort, right? It's situational. Where when we're looking at others, they didn't obey the law. They are taking advantage of the system. They are less than for whatever reason. When odds are, most of the time, if you actually talk with the person, they are either finding similar loopholes to, we'll say, work the system, or they have a situation that if we were in their shoes, we might be making different choices because we have limited choices. And so it's definitely interesting to have a daughter who, so we'll say she had a panic attack back in December. I had asked the girls to load and unload the dishwasher. Should not be the end of the world. But alas, it was. And so she went into a full-blown panic attack of, I can't do that. I don't know where anything goes. I won't do it right. I need your help. I'm like, you do not need my help. You are perfectly capable to do this at 10. You are okay. And
why do you think children have that? What causes that?
Wait, I'm sorry. Do you have well, is that the hammered trivia up there?
Yeah, but that is not one of the questions. That's why I put it up there.
Oh, okay.
am I going to be tested on something?
Oh, you both are.
You are.
Yes.
We are.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You're probably gonna win. So.
Okay. Valedictorian, book smart. Common sense smart, not so much. Trivia, I will play trivia games, but I need to be partnered with somebody that actually knows and has all that useless knowledge that I'll say.
Oh, okay.
Here on Hammered,
I feel
we
better
work
about
individually.
Yeah, it's not a
Yes.
team effort here.
Yeah. Well, since Laura went on ahead and jumped right on the screen.
You had a question. You had a question, and I'm very into this conversation about the anxiety and the dishes and raising kids with deeply
Are you sure? 'Cause
rooted
we
emotions.
can jump right into the trivia.
Well, yes, because you have a very emotional child, and I am a very emotional child, and
Yes.
Amanda has a very emotional child, so I want to hear about these things.
Amanda, do you have cats?
I used to.
Oh.
Now, my very emotional child, who is very good at negotiating,
Has a cat.
So it's been a little while, 6 months maybe. In the morning, she crawls into bed with me. She's like, Mommy, let's have our cat conversation again. I'm like, oh. She's like, when are we going to get a cat? I'm like, I don't know, sweetie. So we had two. One passed away in like May of 2019. One passed away the year before. And then I got divorced, separated, I guess, in 2020. And so then I moved. So now they still have a dog at their dad's house, but I don't have any animals currently. And I'm kind of liking how nice it is not to have to clean up after them and just to reclaim my house.
No responsibility.
Correct. And so I'm living in that space right now, but she really loves animals, and she connects with them, and it does help her anxiety. But anyhow, we're having this conversation, and she's like, well, when we get a cat, can I come help you pick it out? And so then I'm like, well, if we get a cat, she's like, no, Mommy, not if, when. When we get a cat, can I come help pick it out? And so, I'm trying to deflect, right? Like, how about no? And so the conversation proceeds, and I'm like, okay, well, tell me, why do you want to have a cat? Why is it important to you? Well, Mommy, you know how bad my anxiety is. And when it gets really bad, it just helps to calm me down so much to pet the cat and allow their purrs to help me feel better. And I'm like, Durr, you are such, like, as a parent, I can't argue with that. Like, you are being scientific. I'm like, there's nothing to argue there.
Egyptians used purring cats to treat illnesses.
And so, yeah. But
I think she just pulled one over on you.
she really wants a calico kitten.
I think she used that word anxiety just to get her cat. She looked it up on the inner tubes.
Oh, gosh.
And was like, yeah, let me Google anxiety and see how I
all,
can play this.
I'll say, if your child is in a place where she's Googling remedies to her anxiety, a cat is, not the worst option. And if she's in a place where she has to Google ways to remedy her anxiety, then clearly she's in a place where she needs some outside assistance.
Okay, well, here's my thing. All right. When I was a kid, anxiety wasn't a thing. You never heard your friends had anxiety.
Yeah, because you were vilified
anxiety.
for it. You were punished for it. You were told to rub some dirt on it and to forget about it. It wasn't acknowledged.
Because I think we just never had it. What is anxiety? It's depression, right?
No, they're two separate things.
Two separate things. So anxiety is fear. Fear with it's more fear or not just. Well, what's the word I'm looking for?
I think
the unexpected. You fear the unexpected, or
it's a pressure.
The unknown.
It's a pressure. The best I can kind of like a blanket statement of anxiety. It's like a pressure of anticipating the worst possible outcome of a situation and how it overwhelms your senses. And
so in the 80s and 90s, anxiety wasn't in the public eye as it is now, probably because of social media.
Well, probably, yeah. There probably wasn't, first of all, as many things to be anxious about in the 80s,
Social media is probably 90% of the reason why female girls 18 and below have anxiety nowadays.
Or depression because of cyberbullying.
Yeah.
But, that's beside the point. In the 80s, there was less shit to be concerned about, pardon my French. Bill Nye wasn't on TV screaming at people because we're killing the planet, because that was not a forefront issue at the time. Things were not scary in the 80s, and all you did was cocaine anyway, so there was nothing to be anxious.
I had never touched cocaine.
I think it's always been here, but I do think with the advent of social media, the advent of internet, the advent of TVs and news stations, we have access to information in ways that we didn't have previously. And so it's very similar to safety, right? In so many ways, we feel today is less safe than it used to be. Helicopter parents are coming out because, I can't let my child be outside for this amount of time without them getting
helicopter parents.
Helicopter parent.
Yeah.
All right. Explain that. What does that mean?
So helicopter parents are parents who hover over their children, keep their eyes on their children at all times, protect them. Probably, I think all parents try to protect their children. Most parents try to protect their children.
So they wouldn't have been like my parents back in the 80s. Hey, Mom, I'm going to take my bike a mile down the road to my buddy's house.
It is
when you hear the cowbell, come home.
Yeah.
It's very hard as a parent these days to
let that happen.
Because other parents judge you for that. You judge yourself for that.
So my rebuttal to that is that today more so a fear of being judged for letting your children do that, or if is the risk of danger to your child greater? So which is the worst thing that parents are scared for today, the judgment or the danger?
So I think with the advent of social media and the news and just that information being so close these days and so fresh, it makes us feel like the world is a scarier place. It makes us feel like we can't trust our neighbors. It makes us feel like our child might be abducted in this moment because we've just heard an Amber Alert, or we've heard some news from somewhere of some bad act. But if you look at statistics, we are actually a lot safer now than we have ever been.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not necessarily newsworthy. That's not something that gets refreshed every 5 minutes in our brains. And so that adds to the anxiety, because what we're seeing, what we're hearing is danger, 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 danger. That's
so this
bad.
All leads back to social media. But the danger is, like you said, it might be safer now than it was back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. I think it was danger hasn't changed. There's just as many crazy people that were out in the 80s and 90s that there are today. Same amount of people probably getting abducted, It's just that social media puts it on the forefront. And like you said, you're always seeing these Amber Alerts. You're always seeing Twitter posts of somebody was kidnapped, murdered, or killed. And it's always some cute little girl on CNN that's been murdered and abducted, on all the mainstream news channels. And
I won't put the blame 100% on those media channels, because we are the ones that watch those things
and are kind of fueling it in ourselves.
They do their research on what will sell, what gets them more eyes, and that is what we respond to. And so if we want a different world, we have to choose a different world. We have to choose to react differently.
But now you can't even say that with these mainstream media companies, because they're all trash now. They're all corrupt. They're all fitted to one specific niche of viewers. CNN's lost 90% of their viewers since last year, since the election. It's been over.
Where did you get that statistic, by the way?
Where do you think?
Fox?
No. The JRE, thank you very much.
Which is pretty much Fox.
No, don't you be doing that. I'll Google it right now if you want. No, I cannot use Google, because Google takes all your information and they put it in your little internet file.
I want to know what Amanda's daughter named her calico cat.
Look,
I'm still holding strong. But so I was just in Puerto Rico for a few days, and
how was it with COVID over there? I heard Puerto Rico's crazy, like as far as restrictions.
To be honest, we had no problems. We did have a few that were unvaccinated with our group, and we all had to take tests before we went, and we were all negative, and the majority of us stayed at the little hacienda that we were at.
I've got a Puerto Rican coworker. He told me that you have to have your vaccine card just to go to a food truck.
So,
which is crazy.
Looking at, they did change some of their guidelines in December, and it is required for supposedly going into restaurants and whatnot. We ate at the house, so I don't really know about that, but the places that we did go, we did have to upload a copy of the vaccine card before we traveled. But I've gotten alerts the past 2 days, which I'm no longer in Puerto Rico, of course, but they're still checking to see if I'm experiencing any symptoms, so that they are tracking in some sort of way. But we weren't stopped from doing anything. We did have to wear masks. They were, the majority of people outside, inside were wearing masks.
Was it warm?
It was mid-80s, but it didn't feel like summers here, excruciating. It didn't feel awful. It felt nice.
And there was lots of sunshine.
There was, and I witnessed an amazing sunrise and did a glorious hike, did some cave exploring through some rickety stairs that were super questionable, but we survived. Did zip lining. I will never sightsee another way.
All right, well,
it was amazing.
I have to interrupt because, Laura, here you go. This is the New York Post 2, credible internet
super
article.
credible.
Scandal-ridden CNN.
Not biased in any way whatsoever.
90% after 2021. and they blame it on scandals. Really, they've had one scandal, and that was Cuomo. You know, he was with his brother or whatnot. Just crooked. Look at him. He just looks Jeff Zucker lit cable news.
Tell me more
Just
about
looks
Puerto
awful.
Rico. I just
No, here's what
I
we're
need
gonna
a
do.
tan so bad, and like his daughter's in Puerto Rico right now, and I'm just like, for fuck's sake, I want to go.
So
I just want sunshine.
the first morning, I made oatmeal and went and sat by the pool and ate my oatmeal, right? It was, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes. But I had my legs, like, bent close to me. And guess who has a wicked tan line, like, weirdly in my thighs from having my legs up so that there was the crease between my abdomen and legs.
I
So,
would
yeah.
give anything for even like a weird tan line. Like I want any tan line right now.
It was glorious. Like, just having the sun, like, but moving, I used to live in Western New York, where I think there's some statistic we got maybe 11 days of sunshine a year. So here,
This is
fantastic
Puerto
because-
Rico compared
correct.
to Buffalo, New York.
But I will say, y'all had some ice and maybe snow while we were hiking and sweating, and it was like 80-something degrees and just beautiful.
Okay,
And it didn't rain at all. It was fantastic.
I tell you what, it's about to rain in here. It's about to rain hammered trivia.
Oh,
Are you ready?
I was going to be a lot more witty with that, and I was going to say it's going to rain with my tears after I lose this
that
segment
too, but-
of Hammered Trivia.
Well, look, since
Maybe this will be a competition for who loses as opposed to who wins.
Who were we with where, like, we just went on, not a single question was answered correctly? Who was that? Oh, it was Trinity.
Trinity.
I mean, I thought we were going to be here all night. We could not.
Trinity to infinity. Hold on, I got this.
If looks could kill, those eyes.
All right, so Amanda, here's how this works. I'm gonna ask 6 questions. You're gonna get 3. Laura's gonna get 3. And tonight, I think we're gonna do American history. That's a first, a hammered first. So are you ready?
So just FYI, history was always my worst subject.
Oh, well, you're gonna be just great.
American history. I like world history, European history, not American history. So we might be here a while.
Civil War, Native American stuff. I loved those types of things.
All right, and
Amanda, World War.
Since you are our guest, you get the first question. And it is, which founding father did not become president, but did become the first Secretary of Treasury? Was it James Monroe, Aaron Burr, Benjamin Harris, or Alexander Hamilton, or Richard Henry Lee? You got 5 choices there.
I do.
Well, you get the right one, though.
I at least recognize 3 names, so
Right.
there's at least
Yeah.
something.
It's a start.
I got 3.
Yeah. I have no idea. We're going to go with Benjamin Harrison.
Benjamin Harris, is this going to be a green check? Oh, no! It was
Oh.
Alexander Hamilton.
I did watch that maybe a year ago now, so that was exciting.
All right.
But I
so
apparently did not get that from watching the movie, though.
you did not. That was very wrong. All right, Laura, here you go. The shot heard around the world starting the Revolutionary War was fired at Lexington, Massachusetts by the local militia. April 20th, 1775, when British soldiers arrived there to do what? Wow, these are way too long questions. Ugh. To confiscate food and provisions for the army's use. Build an outpost to station soldiers there to seize all weapons and ammunition from the people in the local armory. To try to capture several leaders of the American Rebellion. Or both 3 and 4.
I'm gonna go 3 and 4.
That's what I would do.
Yep. And it is correct. Where's the ding? Good job, Laura. You're up 1-0. Let's go back to Amanda. Here's a shorter question. What constitutional amendment gave women the right to vote in 1920?
Come on, Amanda.
Oh, man, this might be a game breaker. The 15th, the 17th, 19th, 21st, or 25th?
19th?
19th. Let's go in for the kill. And it is correct.
Ding, ding, ding.
I was going to say, if you got that one wrong, we might pull your card.
I was like, I'm a big fan of Amanda, but come on, girl. Come on. Don't let us down.
All right, Laura, your chance to go up 2-1. This founding father from Virginia. Oh, you're from Virginia. You should know this one. Now known as the father of the Bill of Rights, has a university named after him in that state. Is it Henry Clay?
It's George Mason.
George Mason, you sure? Absolutely. Oh, my gosh.
Look at you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even have to read off the other choices. All right, here we go. This is your last question. This is question 3 for Amanda. When Francis Scott Key, during the War of 1812, wrote the lyrics for the Star-Spangled Banner, he was describing the bombardment of what important installation? Was it the Capitol Building in Washington, D.C., West Point, New York, Fort McHenry, Maryland, Fort Sumter, South Carolina, or Fort Lee, Massachusetts? Oh, boy, this is a tough one.
I know this one.
Oh, I think I do too,
Do
but
not know this one. Yeah. I have no idea.
Wow.
We're gonna go. We're gonna go to the Capitol building, but I don't really think that is the correct answer.
I want to say it's Fort Sumter, South Carolina.
It's Fort McHenry.
Fort Mc. Oh my
Lucky
God, Laura got it right.
Here's why I know this. My grandparents lived in Frederick, Maryland, where they have Francis Scott Key Mall. And Frederick, Maryland was where he wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. So that is the only reason I know that.
So I do know of Frederick, Maryland, because that is the halfway point when we go up to New York to visit family. That is the halfway point.
That's funny. My dad's parents lived in Rochester before they moved to Frederick, Maryland.
That is where I went to massage school at.
Rochester?
Mm-hmm. Small world.
Well, before you guys get on that tangent, let me
It's
just
your turn to
say-
win. Let's go.
Okay.
Actually, Laura has already won.
I
Actually,
might actually take this one home.
Yes, no, actually, she
I
already
have
answered her
actually
3.
brought
You've
this
got
one
2.
home.
So, just for fun, you can answer this one.
How
Double or
many,
nothing.
like, original verses?
How many verses does the Star-Spangled Banner have? Is it 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? If you get it wrong, Amanda wins.
That's not true. You said I've already won.
Oh, just guess.
It's
I think it's 3.
like originally, because there's like the Star-Spangled Banner is it's 4, but we only sing
That's
like
correct.
one of them.
It's
So
a good
it was
stat.
kind of a
Too
trick
far.
question for
Look
me.
at you not knowing trivia, but you
She
you
mopped
reigned
up on
this.
Yeah.
You are selling yourself short.
I actually surprised myself tonight.
She doesn't win too many of
It's
these.
like
Amanda.
hardly ever, because he
mean-
really likes kind of sabotaging me.
Well, I pretty much just put that one together on the fly because I forgot to do one.
Yeah.
So, it happens. No, I'm sorry. Continue your
Thank
talk
you.
about
Cats and
cats.
mental health and your kids.
The
Let's-
important topic.
Let's circle back to the cats here.
You are like my daughter.
Well, I think it's funny that it's cats. His daughter recently did a funny, and it's only funny because she didn't do it to Mike. So their mom, who I'm totally cool with, just bought this house, big house, like 4 bedrooms, and Michaela got it in her head that her mom is like all alone in this house, and she hated the idea of her mom being like all alone in this house, which is like so sweet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she starts like dropping these hints like, you should get a cat, they're so self-sufficient, Laura, tell mom how great cats are. And I'm like, cats are great, I'm not gonna knock them. Mine are assholes. I don't know if
And
you
fat.
see this scratch across my forehead that actually happened last night.
I did see that, and I didn't want to ask you about it because I knew if I asked you
Smart
about
man.
it, she would have been like, "What do you mean? What's going on with my head?" She would have totally went off on me, but I saw it earlier. I was like, okay, I'm not even going to acknowledge it's there.
And I think I kept intending to tell you about it, but I was excited about my Valentine's shirt, and then we went shopping, so there were a lot of other like things happening, but I intended to tell you about it last night.
It was Asshole Cat, wasn't it?
Okay, I'm not sure. I don't know. I was asleep. So
Oh my God.
I'm a stomach sleeper, and like my face was like to the left. So
Which, FYI, as
Yeah.
a massage therapist, that is not good for your neck. But continue.
Totally.
well, that's probably why my shoulders
Mhm,
like totally ruined. But arms under pillow, I'm asleep like this, right? Inigo, my sweet baby, my darling, my cupcake, my moon pie, he sleeps kind of like on my head, on the overhang of the pillow I'm not sleeping on. It's really precious. He did it as a kitten, and it's just like, that's my baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nike, who I call the asshole, he doesn't think Nike's the asshole. Nike is the asshole. She's curled up kind of next to me right here. And Lottie, I have 3 cats. I'm nuts. Lottie sleeps at the foot of the bed, so she's not like a part of this thing at all. So at some point, I'm dead asleep. In the night, something either spooks the two that are up here, or they're like goofing around and like play fighting, and then they like actually got mad at each other. I don't know. All I know is a claw got ripped across my forehead, and I don't know if Inigo had like kicked me by accident or if it was like Nike running across my face.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But
Just show your scar to the camera.
But you now have
cats are,
battle wounds.
oh, for sure. Like, I've volunteered in animal shelters for like a dozen years.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a first name basis with the urgent care doctor in Key West because I was getting bit by a cat every week, and I'd have to go get an antibiotic per the shelter's orders.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't get like some weird infection. So anyway, cats are great except for when they do dumb shit in the middle of the night, like run across your face.
Mm-hmm.
I digress. Michaela surprises her mom with a kitten. Like point blank, no warning whatsoever, just shows up with a kitten.
So I'm waiting for the day for that to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
And
No,
I
not just a kitten, 2 kittens.
No,
Well,
no.
the kitten came later because she
the
wanted
kid's mom
the kitten
wanted
to have a friend.
which is good. So they can kind of entertain each other.
Mm-hmm.
Kittens are happier and healthier when they grow up with someone. So if you get a kitten, make sure you get another one. If you get a full-grown cat, he's fine.
They get full grown and they start attacking you while you're asleep. You wake up with blood all over your face.
My babies have never attacked me. I think, things just happened in the night. I don't know what happened.
Looking like you were the victim in a slasher movie because of your cats when you wake up.
It's not even that bad, you asshole.
Can't even have your cup of coffee in the morning without having to go bandage up first. God. Anyway.
It's not even that bad. I think it's like a little swollen now, but it's not even that bad.
Well, Amanda, before we wrap this up, tell everybody listening out there like what you got going on in the next few weeks, prepping for your campaign and all that. Because the big November is when it all goes down, right?
November is the general election. Mm-hmm. So currently, there's a lot of litigation in place regarding the gerrymandering maps. So the primary was supposed to be in March. They have halted the candidate filing and pushed the primary. So the primary is now May 17th. Make sure you go out and vote on May 17th. June 2nd, I believe it is the Supreme Court, the North Carolina Supreme Court is hearing the case regarding some of this gerrymandering legislation. And from there, they'll make a decision on the maps, whether or not they're constitutional, whether or not they need to be changed, if the districts will change. And then candidate filing happens at the end of February, where there were a couple of days, so some candidates have filed. I tried to go 3 times, and every time I was about to go, like, it would halt again. So I'm waiting for the end of the month to do that. But I've just got some flyers out. I'm going to be doing door-to-door canvassing. I'm going to start having some community conversations where just asking people from the community to tell me what their needs are, what they would like to do better, any solutions that they might have to problems that are going on, things that are going on with businesses, just touching base with as many folks as I can so that I have as many perspectives as I can going forth, because in the end of the day, it's not about what I innately want and feel. I will be a representative for all of the people and make sure that, to the best of my ability, all of their voices have the opportunity to be heard.
That's like really exciting. And, you know, at the beginning of this show, I'm like, tell me about the voices in your head. But now I feel really good about it for you. That's awesome. And thank you for being the person who's going to make the change that we need to see.
And so much of it, I see this anxiety and stress on my table every single day with people in our local communities. Like, we've talked about it today, but it is so prevalent. And if we don't get a handle on mental health issues, we're going to continue going down these negative cycles. So my goal is, my drive between mental health and education, because in a lot of ways they're tied, is to more adequately fund mental health services and provide better access for people to get care, and for our schools to be fully funded so that we have a nurse per school, because we don't right now, so that we have more counselors in the schools, so that, because there's so few counselors in the schools that they're just working on these active concerns. They don't have the time to do any of the preventative measures to stop kids from getting to these places where they're at. So by more fully funding and just bringing attention to it on a larger scale, that is where I feel my place is now. I see it on my table and I can only help so much. But if we can change on a grander scale on just some of our views, where we place our values, for so long it was go to college, go to college, go to college. And it's great if you're one who thrives in a school environment. But so many kids don't necessarily learn in that way. And there are so many other opportunities that are just as valuable. So I'd like to start shifting some of those mindsets. And I feel like that is my place. Like, doing massage, like I have to keep doing my massage because you make nothing as a state rep.
You answered my next question, was if you were going to continue your massage therapy practice while, you're in office.
So how much do you think a North Carolina state representative or senator makes?
I literally don't even have a shot in the dark.
$28,000.
So base salary, $13,900 a year. Wow. Base salary. You do get, so it's supposed to be part-time. 1 year is supposed to be a longer session, 1 year a shorter session. You do get about $100 per diem of when you are in session, and then about $500 a month for additional expenditures, because some people, like, if I get elected, I live close to Raleigh. I can still live at home. I can still drive to the office. But some people live in the middle of nowhere, and they have to commute and stay. And so that is also something that I would like to work on, because it shouldn't.
Well, why would you put up with that headache for
$13,000?
Wow.
And to some degree, like, kind of fires me up too.
But you have to raise $1 million.
If you're in, and that is your salary, and the schedule can be pretty frenetic in the House, right? Because sometimes our current politicians and previous past politicians, we can't do things by the light of day because we're trying to sneak something in. And all parties have been part of that. And so it could be 2 o'clock in the morning where there's some random vote that I'm going to have to drive in for. Or so one, you don't make a lot of money, which I don't think you need to make a ton of money.
Right.
But
You gotta make more than you make at McDonald's.
A livable wage.
You need to make a livable wage, because who are you leaving out of the table? Who cannot be a representative?
Right.
Somebody who doesn't have a lot of free time, somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, somebody that holds a low-wage job with no flexibility does not have the ability to do this work. And to be a truly representative democracy, all those seats should be very diverse. Any person should have the ability to be a representative or a state senator.
You know what? That's a good one to wrap up on right there. Unfortunately, I hate to put the kibosh on this, but with time restraint, I feel like you could probably talk about this for another hour. But Amanda, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah.
For all you guys listening out there, I can't see the address. Go to Amanda Lunn for NorthCarolina.com. Check her out. Learn more about her and what she's representing in North Carolina. Also, if you need a massage, you got a website for your massage therapy?
www.massageingenuity.com, and I'll just clarify, it's Amanda Lunn for FORNC.com.
Oh, what did I say?
You said North Carolina, so there might be some confusion there.
That's like a lot of words.
You gotta get North Carolina spelled out there.
There's only one NC in the United States. Come on.
That's it. All right. Well, this has been another episode of Hammer. Thanks for being on the show, Laura.
Well,
and
thank you.
Thanks again, Amanda.
Thanks for
And
having me.
we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.